Hi folks, welcome back. I've come to the old western side of Sherwood Forest this morning. It was a self-talk morning this morning. You know the ones, like the alarm clock goes off at silly o'clock and morning sweetheart, and your eyes don't open. It's just self-talk instantly kicks off. Just 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes. I don't have to go today. I just don't have to go today. I don't have to go today. So here I am, gone today. I'm pleased to have, very pleased to have, spectacular morning. First real cold morning of the year. Autumn is here, there's no doubt, absolutely no doubt whatsoever. Everything's turning crispy brown. Those autumnal colours are beginning to pop. So it's going to be, I think this year in particular, because we've had such a vibrant summer, I think we're in for quite a vibrant autumn. It's really lovely this morning. I've not found a cobweb yet, not one, which is a kiss of death. I'm going to walk into a dozen now, but so what? And I'm actually on a trail that I visited not so long ago where I got kicked back. The undergrowth was too dense for me to get through and I couldn't get to visit a certain little oak tree. So I've come out just to get a glimpse of him this morning, and that's what I'll do next. I've got no predetermined theme for today whatsoever. This is me on a normal day coming out to take some shots, and what will be. I don't know why, I don't have high expectations for some reason. I don't know what I'm shooting. I'm completely lost this morning. Absolutely, it's as if I'm not here yet. I've not quite managed to meet myself. So I'm gonna chill out, take a breath, have a look around me, slow myself right down, and as I find any compositions, I shall of course bring you back, explain my thinking. So let's see what today brings. How do you recover from that? This is now day 2, take 2, episode 2 of yesterday's attempt at landscape woodland photography. Today, I'm trying to pick up where I left off, which is far from easy, but I've come to a lovely little bit of woodland. However, the forecast changed and it robbed me of the light yesterday, so we don't have any sun forecast. In fact, we may have some rain later. I'd say it's probably a few degrees up. It's probably about 8 degrees. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not bad. And I've actually come into a place I've never been before, and I'm already very, very excited. And it's a little ribbon of land. It kind of sandwiches itself between Sherwood Forest and Woodland Forest South. And there's just this ribbon of woodland that connects the two. And I've come into a really quiet side. It's a dog walker's paradise, really. This tree keeps throwing acorns at me. But there are some ancient oaks in here, some I've never seen before. And I've got my eyes on a fella, which I'm going to sort out a composition in a moment. The light's just kind of kissing him quite nicely. Might even go mono on him. I'll see what it looks like. Let's just get some shooting done. It's long enough chatting. I need to get some work done. So I'll show you quickly where he is. He's very, very old, obviously. But there's a gap in the canopy just above, and it's letting the light in, and it's just catching his face. There are some highlights in the background here, obviously above, and a few there. So I'm going to try and just work around on composition, see if I can eradicate some of it by putting him in the middle. We'll see. Morning. I've managed to get a little bit close to this fella, and I've managed to cut out the little highlights. The majority of them, there's still little bits, but it's not too bad. The difficulty with this is that if I get any closer, I introduce some of that background light and it takes up more of the frame. So sometimes what I do, and I do it automatically rather than, I guess I'd just call it me finding a composition. Sometimes it's necessary for me to set myself away from the subject in order to reduce the amount of light in the background, because it's taking up less of the real estate in the frame. The further I move in, the more real estate that highlight takes up, if that makes sense. It's one of the reasons that I shoot 50mm, because it helps me form my compositions when I'm walking through the woods, because with my eye, what I see is roughly what I'm going to shoot. And this is just a good example of it. I can't really march forward because this is a bit too dense, it'd take me too long. But in both the right hand and left hand side of this trunk, we've got highlights coming both sides. And the further forward I go, the more of a problem I create for myself. So I'm settled here, and I've shot some colour frames, but I think the black and white is probably going to be my favourite, you know, just because the light that's coming in from the sky is touching on the face of the trunk, and we've got some nice light just hitting the forest floor as well. It's naturally a little bit darker, almost a natural vignette. We've got some darkness around this edge, we have a little more darkness around this edge. I'm likely to crop the sky and crop the sides a little bit more. I'll try and move the trunk left or right of centre, probably over to the right. But as it stands, I'm shooting at 0.8 of a second at f11. That's 0.7 of a stop underexposed at ISO 100, or ISO 100, whichever you prefer. What I also did is shot my colour shot, and what I did there is I went down to like 2.2, I think. My intention with this was to knock out some of the distant background out of focus. In fact, let's go even further, the light's changing, so that looks quite nice. I'm manually focused in on the trunk itself. Quite a bit of camera movement in this wind. Yeah, that's better. Just as a gust of wind comes. So that was a 50th of a second, f1.8, 0.7 of stop under at ISO 100. Lights dropped, so I don't know. I'll probably turn away from him for a minute, think about something else. Got some lovely little dappled colours here. Show you those. Won't show it well, but on this, not this one, just there's a lovely little clump of autumn colour, and if I can get that way on it, I might have this as a backdrop, so I've got less sky. There's some more just above it in the tree here, and some way up in the canopy that's going to be too bright, but I might try it here. The wind is the problem. I'll evaluate, I'll see what I can come up with. I might try and take a shot in between the gusts. One last thought on this fella before I leave, and then I'm going to head deeper into the wood, try and get some shelter. Sounds like a plan. So, it is beautiful, beautiful place. Right, onwards. I think I've got a reasonable shot on this little bit of autumnal colour. In fact, let me try and get a little bit closer just so I can show you the colours. So there's just this one pocket here of Lovely, like, they're not quite fully turned yet, but there's a backdrop also. There's some up here on the silver birches, and there's this beautiful branch, this gnarly, twisted thing. If I had a zoom, I'd do a lot better. So I'm going to have to address that one day. But right now I don't. I only shoot primes, and I don't have a long prime. So this is where I am. I'm trapped between this log and a hard place. But I've got a composition in here which I quite like. I've got the silver birch in the foreground on the right thirds, and I've got the flock of autumn colour just up in that top right hand corner there. I'm shooting at f1.8, so everything behind is out of focus, and it's nicely out of focus, with in the background some silver birch and some look like baby oak trees. I'm using the ferns as a foundation there. We've got some nice supportive shadows and not too much highlight. I just managed to get this oak limb taking out the top highlight there, but you can see the wind, how it's playing havoc with the bushage. There's that guy with a bit more light on. I'm going to head over there just as I said I would, and I'm just going to check him out one last time before I move on. I've been here a little while now, probably half an hour or so, and as beautiful as it is, I want to go a bit further and do a bit more exploring, because as I said, I've not been down here before, so it might be a nice place to combine a few shots and a bit of a recce at the same time. Lovely, really, really nice, a beautiful place. So settings wise, I shot 1/50th of a second to try and get as much of that motion reduced as possible, and I waited for pauses in the wind so that I could just time a click in between the gusts. f1.8, as I shot I was 0.7 under, and ISO 100. I could spend all day here just isolating individual bits and bobs, but I'm going to move on, so I'll catch you in a bit. I'm loving this today. It's really nice in here. I never expected any of this, and the light is just lifting now. It keeps finding its way, whether it's this bit of woodland, I don't know, but it keeps finding its way in through the canopy, and it's just illuminating parts. But it's a beautiful contrast, because those illuminated parts sit in shadows, and the more I stay around, the more I'm seeing the areas that are coming to life and then dulling down, and then you can go and explore those areas, you know. Excuse me. Anyway, I moved over to get a closer shot of this fella. What an incredible tree. What an absolutely incredible tree. You know, I've got to get a bit closer. I can see a little path. I took a black and white shot on him, but the sky was introduced, so it became quite a difficult thing. What an incredible tree. Beautiful texture. So much life. See all the holes from all the insects where they've burrowed in. Moths, beetles, texture on that. Like an ancient burl. What an incredible tree. What an absolutely awesome tree. I only wish I could do him justice and take his portrait, you know. Ooh, he's a target. Top tip in brambles. Take your time, because this stuff doesn't snap, it just trips you up and you end up face deep in a load of thorns. Not that I've ever done that, of course. That's what I came up with. Very dark base, beautiful soft highlights just touching the face of the opening there, which is reflected in the tree. And then as we work our way up there, it just gets a little brighter, a little brighter, a little brighter further, until we meet the sky, which I can't eliminate, sadly. It's there whether I like it or not, and my tripod is beyond maximum reach, so that's it for today. But because we've got this sweeping line leading up and towards the light, I think the actual curvature of the tree complements the light. I'll knock back some of this in post-processing, and I'll try and take some of these bits out just to emphasise the light on his face. I won't do anything radical, but just bring forward what I'm seeing right now. Shot is at 1/125th of a second, f1.8, 2 stops under to try and get the tops of the trees there in some sort of sensible exposure. I'm not too worried about that, to be honest. I'm more interested in having him in focus, ISO 100. And on the note of focus, manually focused, could do with a longer timer for this just to try and eradicate any motion at all. But anyway, I've took a few shots and it's time to move on. I don't mind if I don't find another thing today. It's been a pleasure to meet you, mate, and it's been a pleasure to try and capture a little bit of the autumnal colour. If nothing else happens today, I am content. So whatever else comes, it's a bonus. I'll process these shots obviously, and I'll pick a selection of what I've got from now, and I'll pop them up at the end as I normally do. And just have a mooch on further, probably carry on for about a mile, take me down towards the heath, see what's kicking off around there, and then spin around and head back. So any more, I'll bring you back. If there's not, I'll come and say adios. What a wonderful morning. What an absolutely cracking morning. Since the last time we spoke, I've walked the entire length of this trail to a point where it meets where I know I am. So I've I knew where I was anyway, but I just never walked this trail, that's all. And I have now, so I know what's here, and I can come back, which I surely will. Autumn is going to be epic. All the signs are. It really is going to be a beautiful season, I'm sure. But every day it'll change now. Things will be turning colour very fast, and as the leaves begin to drop, the ground changes, and so much to come. Really stunning, really beautiful. But anyway, I've tried taking a few more shots, but they weren't noteworthy. I wasn't confident about them. There's a couple of big old famous trees down there that I tried to, I tried to get down to them, but it's just not happening today. The wind's picking up and the light is less changeable, so the cloud must have built, I'm thinking. But no bother, it's been a brilliant morning, and after yesterday it's been much needed, I can tell you. So I'll go with what I've got. I'll get those processed when I get back, and I'll pop them up on screen now. So for this week, what was a shaky start ended up being quite reasonable. Popped my first drone footage up, which I'm sure you'll have already seen. That was also a bit shaky, but that'll improve with a bit more experience. I'm far from an experienced pilot, but I hope to include more, and especially as autumn builds and I can get up into the canopy without risk of turning my drone into 1,000 pieces. So more of that to come. So I'm not going to waffle anymore and get out this wind and save you the hassle of having to hear it bounce off this mic. But until next week, thank you most sincerely for watching. Please take care of one another, and as ever, if you can't be good, just be careful. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.